And we're recording.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Did you miss us?
Virtual hugs.
Oh, it felt really good. Thank you.
That's the sound of a virtual hug. And this is the sound of Whyte Noise.
We're three white people. We're talking about nothing. And it's Whyte Noise.
Whyte Noise, because with a Y, because why?
So each episode, if you're just joining us, there's a new topic, any random topic. And Michael and Ryan each have 10 minutes to talk to me about that topic. And then I pick a winner. And the winner, one day, will win the Hymen Trophy.
Chelsea, you just gestured back like it was going to
Like
be there.
it's behind me.
And it was just
Ladies
your
and
bathroom
gentlemen,
door.
just my empty door.
You keep it in the bathroom.
I do keep the Hymen Trophy in the bathroom. And it's back there.
Before Kate Winslet won her Oscar, she used to practice her Oscar speeches with a shampoo bottle.
Oh my God.
And she lost so many times. Then when she finally won, she was like, it's not a shampoo bottle now. But like, I guess all of her friends were like, that's hysterical. We didn't know you did that. And so she keeps her Oscar in her guest bathroom because then anyone who comes over doesn't have to practice with a shampoo bottle. They can practice with a real Oscar in the bathroom
cute.
mirror.
I love her.
Who is starting today?
Who started last? Do you remember?
I don't.
I
have the memory of a goldfish. I'm lucky I know my own name, let alone.
Who are you?
My name's Elaine, and I just wandered it off the street. The street? Chelsea, who would you like to go first?
Oh, no. Don't put it on me.
Yeah, why
I can't
not?
take
Come on.
any more responsibility in life. Okay, Michael, go first.
Okay.
There you go.
You wanted to do it. You were excited.
Actually, yeah. You're very excited.
I was excited about this. Okay. Tell me when my 10 minutes.
All right, your 10
goes.
minutes start now.
Great, because my coffee just kicked in.
Oh my God. It's nighttime, by the way.
That timing, it is 8:57 at night when we're recording this. Yes, so I was very excited about razors. So what it makes me think of, and I'm going to get to this eventually, is barbers, which hint, hint where this is going. But like haircuts and stuff, like, you know, the razors that they use. So first, quick side tangent. Fans of Dr. Pimple Popper will enjoy this. Yeah, so if you're a fan of Dr. Pimple Popper, you know what like a cyst is. Because she tends to pop them and squeeze them and, you know, the goop comes out. No, it's so like disgusting.
It's a train wreck. You can't look away. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's
Chelsea,
so
have you
satisfying.
seen these?
Oh, yeah. I can't watch them because then I get fed more. You have to like self-train.
Oh, your algorithm.
On your algorithm, yeah.
you're a popaholic.
I'm clean. I can't touch it.
I have to get back into it. My Instagram keeps showing me like animals in Africa getting eaten, and it's really upsetting. It's like zebras getting caught by alligators. Anyway, I digress. So I have 2 cysts on my head.
Oh, no way.
That are like the size of marbles. I have one like right, if you go to between my eyes and just go straight up to like an inch into my hairline, there's one right there. And then there's one right on the back of my head.
Wow.
And they like
Do they have
fluctuate.
names?
Ooh, no, they don't. I should give them names.
Yeah.
Like Thelma and Louise or something.
Thelma and Louise is it.
There they are. Thelma's on the front, Louise is on the back. And they used to be bigger and then they shrink and they get bigger. But it's fun. Whenever I get a haircut, and this brings us back to razors and stuff, I've had so many barbers nick them because you can't really see them in my hair. They're like just small enough that you can't really see them. And you have no feeling, like they're basically numb. There are no nerves in there. So I've had so many barbers like nick one and then blood just starts pouring down my face. And I know that it's nothing. And I'll just sit there and be like, oh, and to watch them freak out, like they're going to get sued. Like they just like, because they bleed like crazy because it's your head. So yeah, I've definitely, and I zone out when I get haircuts. Yeah, and I've definitely like zoned out and come back to when they're like, and there's just like blood gushing down the front of my face. So that's my fun little part of this. But bloody razor blades, barbers brings me to when I really think of razor blades, I think of the hit Broadway musical, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
That one.
Love that show. And there's a song like in the main chorus of it, they're like, swing your razor high, Sweeney. So I always think of when I heard the word razor, I was like, Sweeney Todd. Now, if you are unfamiliar with this musical, It is about Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. It's like Victorian era London. And Sweeney Todd is this guy who is a very popular barber. And then this really horrible dude named Judge Turpin really like lusted after Sweeney Todd's young, hot wife. And so he came up with these trumped up charges and sent Sweeney Todd to Australia, where he chilled for like 20 years. And Judge Turpin tried to like woo his wife. She didn't want him. So he poisoned her, and she didn't die, but she like lost her mind and now is like a crazy beggar lady. And he basically kidnapped Sweeney Todd's daughter, Joanna, and was a baby and was like raising her as his own. So when the show begins, it's when Sweeney has come back from Australia and he meets this woman, Mrs. Lovett, who's this like, she owns a pie shop. And it's a pie shop like in the same building where his old barber shop was. It was beneath his. And she's like all kinds of cuckoo bananas crazy. Angela Lansbury brilliantly played her originally. And she's this like cuckoo lady who comes up with this scheme because he wants revenge and she needs to make money because her pies are dreadful. Literally, she sings a song called The Worst Pies in London. And they are. They sing a lot of clever rhymes about how crusty and gross they are. In a way that Sweeney Todd wrote, or Stephen Sondheim wrote the show. And of course, he is clever, morbid, lyrics. So they hatch this plan where he's going to kill people in his barbershop with his razor blade when men come in for shaves. And then they're going to like have this trap door on his barber chair where they slide down to her basement. And then she grinds them up and cooks the people into pies and then serves them. And the plan works brilliantly. Her pie shop explodes because it turns out they're now delicious and now they're the best pies in London. Turns out everyone in London were cannibals. Apparently people taste great. But the whole show, he's trying to get Judge Turpin in and he like won't come in. There's like reasons why he won't. Meanwhile, there's like a sailor who falls in love with Joanna and they hatch a plan to like steal her away. So, spoilers at the end of the show, he does finally kill Judge Turpin, but then he finds out Mrs. Lovett's been also kind of using him, and so he ends up throwing her in an oven, and they end up baking her too. And then they have this little sidekick boy who's like their little helper who like sees all of this gory mess at the end, and like his brain just like snaps. And so then he kills Sweeney Todd with his own razor blade. But it's fine because the little sailor boy, who I'm pretty sure is gay, runs off with Joanna, the daughter, and they live happily ever after. Even though Joanna is like majorly traumatized because she was stolen by a horrible vindictive judge who I'm pretty sure like sexually assaulted her entire life and then held her captive in his house. Like she sings this crazy song about like how she's jealous of birds because they can fly away, but then she keeps her bird in a cage so it can like move like her.
Oh, God.
It's kind of upsetting. But weirdly, the show is also very funny. Like this great song called Little Priest at the end of Act 1 where Mrs. Lovett's hatching the plan and she like pitches the idea to him and she like picks up a pie and she's like, here's priest, have a little priest. And like, anyway, I highly recommend listening to it. I'm probably doing a horrible job of summarizing the show because like, I love the show so much.
Where can I listen to it? Just anywhere?
So anywhere, there's multiple recordings. It's been on Broadway many times. They just revived it on Broadway with Josh Groban. He played Sweeney Todd.
Right.
And they did a recording of it. They also filmed it. You can watch the original Broadway recording. They filmed it for PBS, and I think it's on YouTube with Angela Lansbury. And it's incredible.
Is there not a film?
And they made a movie with Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah. It's like there's.
I don't recommend watching the movie, though. The movie's kind of terrible.
So this is this isn't I'm going to sound so stupid, but this isn't like an adaptation of Sweeney Todd. This is the Sweeney Todd that is Sweeney Todd. Like,
yes, like it's an adaptation of, there was like a story about Sweeney Todd and called The String of Pearls, which, sorry, not to take us there, but it was
getting back in croissant territory.
So it's based on a story called String of Pearls, which was published in a magazine in 1846, and originally it was set in 1785, and then later was another version of it that was written in the 1870s. And then that's when they made Sweeney Todd like take place in that time. And then there was a play written in 1970 called Sweeney Todd by Christopher Bond. And that's what Stephen Sondheim saw. And Stephen Sondheim was like, you know what? I think this really dark, gruesome show would make a great musical. And the interesting thing is nothing had been seen like that when it came to Broadway. It opened on Broadway in 1979, I want to say. And people literally like walked out of the theater because like they're thinking it's this big like musical with Angela Lansbury, who, you know, Murder, She Wrote, everybody loved her. And it was a big star. And they literally like would slice their necks on stage. And they somehow like, when you watch it, it's pretty impressive, the stage magic of it, where they like the blood just gushes out of their throats and then they shoot. And there would be this like steam, like a steam whistle noise whenever somebody died. And it's like really upsetting, but then the songs are very quippy and funny. And just the amount of people who die in this show is crazy. But yeah, apparently like, and it won all kinds of Tony Awards. It was a huge hit. It's been revived with Patti LuPone. It's been done all over the world. But yeah, I loved it in the beginning.
You have 1 minute left.
Audiences were like, what the fuck am I watching? And literally left because they were so grossed out. And like people like passed out. Like, which I think is just kind of cool. There'd never been like a horror musical before.
I think it's super impressive that like they were able to pull that stuff off on stage and create those effects to the point that like people were freaking out.
Yeah.
Very
honestly, like it's worth a listen. The music is amazing. Or if you can find like a video of the Angela Lansbury, like I highly recommend it.
I can't believe I've never seen it. I feel like I've seen a lot of shows.
Yeah, same. I'm a little.
Yeah, it's
surprised.
become one of those like standards, but it is like dark. And it has a huge cast. So it's only done like when they can do it on a big scale, you know? But yeah, I'm so excited. I finally got to talk about a musical and the cysts on my head. So the theme was razors, blood, and barbers who like kill people or nick their heads.
There you go. That's time.
Perfectly timed.
Voila. Yeah, there's a real Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to talk about musicals today.
Like, I don't even know if that was interesting for anybody. I just wanted to gush about Sweeney Todd, so thank you.
Been waiting for so long. I'm glad it happened.
Oh, and they did a version in an actual pie shop where they served pies. That was a fun revival, too.
Oh, that's fun. I hope they were
yucky,
pies.
though.
And gross that, like, people who didn't know the show would be, like, eating the pie while the show was starting and then be like, ugh. Like.
Yeah, they'd be like, never mind.
Yeah, JK.
So this is what human tastes like.
Yeah. Delicious. Tastes like chicken.
Pass. Okay, great. Ryan, your 10 minutes on Razor starts now.
Okay, cool. So I guess I went on kind of a similar route, just like talking about shaving, and of course, like did the typical like, what are some fun facts around shaving? And the origin is actually with ancient Egyptians, who used bronze, silver, and gold tools, and it was a sign of status because you'd be able to afford things to care for yourself. And also, kind of like fun facts, they had shaving cream and aftershave, which were created from like animal fats and like different essential oils. So I just imagine all these like Egyptians walking around smelling of like Drakkar Noir or, you know, white water or whatever after shaving. Did you guys go through that period where everyone wore Drakkar Noir? No, that's probably a me. That's probably an age thing for me. Oh my God, the guy.
Like, what is that?
So Drakkar Noir is a cologne and like aftershave. And when I was in high school, I didn't even intend to go down this path. When I was in high school, surprise! When I was in high school, it was like the thing was the smell would make women horny. So teenage boys just started like throwing it all over their bodies. And oddly enough, the guy who I used to ride to school with every day in the morning, like coated himself in it. Like the car smelled of it.
Ew,
and I could still smell it. But it's one of those smells, I think, for like, I guess my gen or like early, very, very early millennials, like all know like Drakkar Noir. But
that's like Axe body spray for me.
And that doesn't immediately like bring your milkshake to the yard? Or I mean,
see the look?
No, I think the milkshake brings the boys to the yard. The boys don't bring the milkshake to the yard.
Well, they can.
They can.
It's just awkward.
Rare. Yeah.
It doesn't make you want to bring your milkshake to their yard.
Not really.
Okay.
No.
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 All right, boys.
It's
no
not my
Axe
favorite
spray
scent,
for Chelsea.
but it's not like actively disgusting, I guess, depending on the scent. It's just, you know, it's not like some magic potion where you smell it and you're like, ooh. I think it's more, it smells like guy, to be fair. Like, Axe smells like man to me. So depending on the man, I might want to bring my milkshake to his yard. Just depends.
Hit.
Wait, really quickly, I saw such a I think this was Taylor Tomlinson. It was Taylor Tomlinson where she was like, I know I'm fucked up because I don't wear perfume when I'm dating somebody to smell nice. I wear perfume when I'm dating somebody so I know, like, later when they smell that scent, if we break up, they'll smell that scent and they'll think of me.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh, man. Okay. But all these kids at your high school were wearing Dracula Noir.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So kind of where this whole thing was leading was I was going to talk about how I ended up with my beard how I ended up with my beard and actually essentially stopped shaving. So at some point, this is probably like early 2000s, I don't know, 2007, 2008-ish. I was clean shaven. I had never had a beard before my life. I went to that, you know, that weird in your 20s goatee phase and got rid of it and went back to like clean shaven. Well, one time while shaving, I actually nicked the tip of my my chin. And that little nick like suddenly started to like, you know, nothing could cure it, nothing could fix it, whatever else. And where I worked had a doctor's office. And I walk into that doctor's office and they were like, yeah, we're going to book you with a dermatologist this afternoon. And essentially walk out of where I work down to the dermatologist's office, sit down. Lady opens up the door and she looks at me and she goes, oh. And I was like, oh, I'm like, what's wrong? She's like,
that's what you want to hear.
She's like, it's a staph infection. We need to get you on antibiotics like right now. And at this point, it had started to like crawl up my face and it was crawling down my neck. And it was happening quickly, which was a little freaky. So,
like how quickly? How many days after you cut yourself was this?
Within 2 or 3.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So, I end up going on to sulfa drugs or a sulfa antibiotic. And the only reason I remember it and know this is because it almost kills me. I almost die from this experience. So it turns out my body goes into, I guess it's called Stevens-Johnson syndrome when I take sulfa drugs. And Stevens-Johnson syndrome is where your body essentially boils from the inside out.
What?
And I started to get previews of this. So it started out like I just thought I was kind of sick because I had like congestion in my lungs and like I would get this peaking fever sort of thing and I'd take ibuprofen and press it down. And I actually, oddly enough, the worst of it is when I had come back from a business trip and my ex was picking me up to go to Penn State to see a Sarah McLachlan ice skating pageant.
Okay.
Now, can't
right? You just won.
Like, I'm not kidding. You can't make this up. And my ex loved Sarah McLachlan and loved ice skating, and so it was like this magical come together. But I've come back from this trip. I'm fucked up from the antibiotics, and I head into this. I get 104 fever when we arrive at the hotel out at Penn State. So I go to urgent care. And they do everything. They're like, we really don't know what's wrong with you at all. Here, take more ibuprofen. So I went from this, like, I'm freezing to, you know, if you have a fever and you take ibuprofen, your body starts to cool and you actually are hotter than hell and you start to sweat out because of the high temperature. So I take the ibuprofen and I start to sweat out, and my main memory from that evening is sitting and watching the Sarah McLachlan ice pageant and just soaking everything that I had on, getting over this whole thing. So, you know, at this point, I finally start to realize that the drugs are not good for me, and I have 1 dose left. And I call and leave a message on the doctor's phone. And, you know, it's like over the weekend, it's on a Sunday. There's nobody picking it up. It's like one of those listen to services. This is the only time in my life I've ever left a message on one of those things. And within 10 minutes, the actual doctor calls me back. And because I was like, look, my eyes are getting red. I'm getting this super high temperature. I was like, I've got stuff in my lungs. And she calls me back and she's like, stop taking it now. I'm like, okay. A lot of strong reactions from this dermatologist.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Wow.
So she's like, I want you in my office, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. You're my first appointment. So head into work. I go there immediately. And she walks in and she's like, so how are you feeling? I'm like, well, I think I'm okay now. And she's like, so have you had any of your like soft skin slough off, like your lips or, on your penis? And I was like, no. Like, and then she just goes, okay, good. And changes the topic and is like, well, you're over the infection now. Like, I think you're fine. And I was like, no.
Let's circle back.
At what point were my lips supposed to fall off?
Or your penis is supposed to fall off. Like, I'm like, do we need to check? Is there something I should have been looking for? She's like, no. She's like, she goes, don't ever take sulfa drugs again and they'll kill you. And she goes, you have Stevens-Johnson syndrome when you take them. And yeah, it'll really like legitimately kill you. So now it's the one thing that I have to always note on like, what are you allergic to? And I love it. People are like, oh, so, what happens if you take sulfa drugs? And I go, I die.
You have 1 minute left, by the way. But you're like, yeah, I straight up die. You have 1 minute. Yeah.
I'm like straight up out. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like my main story. I mean, would either of you go to a Sarah McLachlan ice pageant just for the experience?
I mean, not if I was boiling from the inside out.
No.
Like, maybe if it was a Tuesday and there wasn't much else going on.
Even then, I don't know.
We took Zoe with us. That's my dachshund, who's my oldest dog. And of course, she lost her mind in the hotel. And like at the very end of the thing, we start getting phone calls from the hotel. They're like, you got to get back here. Your dog's losing its mind. So that time I went to see a Sarah McLachlan ice pageant.
Wow.
Bravo.
And was dying.
And was literally
boiling
dying.
from the inside out.
You were almost in the arms of the angels.
Truly.
Aw. I wouldn't mind being in their eyes either.
Okay, well, I think there's a clear winner here. Sorry, Michael.
Oh, it is so obvious. If you picked me, I'd be like, Chelsea, I don't know. All I did was like ramble semi-coherently about a musical.
I did learn, though. I learned about the musical. But yeah, it wasn't a near-death experience. So, unfortunately, sorry, Michael.
No, please. This is becoming a theme.
Gold
and
goes to Ryan.
I'm just accepting this.
That you ramble about show tunes.
That I ramble and then Ryan wins.
It's fair.
Say, at least you're not as close to the Hymen as I am. And like, oddly enough, I don't know that I want it.
Well,
yeah,
listen.
you two are pining after something you don't even want.
Well, I feel like
don't even want to get closer.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream.
Yucky.
Oh man!
Wow, that's a crazy story, Ryan.
Yeah,
well, thank you.
I'm
glad you survived.
Well, me too. Yeah. I wish I had kept that weight off that I lost. I was a skinny bitch.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. I went from 225 to 185 in like 2 weeks.
Holy shit!
What?
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's because I didn't realize what was going on. Like, let's just say everything I was eating was just kind of like
exiting.
Leaving. And I was exercising at the same time. Like, I don't know, like, yeah.
Wow.
I remember
you're boiling from the inside out. Burns a lot of calories.
Still working out. Every trainer should use you as an example.
Well,
yeah, boiling from the inside out and still showed up.
Yeah.
Not exactly doing it the same way these days, but
yeah, so what shall our word be?
Parrot.
Oh.
Parrot. Either the verb or the animal, you know?
Oh, okay.
You can I like the use of parrot as a verb too. The verb, like to parrot someone.
What?
To parrot things.
Isn't parrot also a technology? Isn't there a technology?
I guess we'll find out.
We will find out
on the next step.
Whyte Noise.